So our next speaker is Mr. Okan Geray. He's the Strategic Planning Advisor for the Smart Dubai office in the United Arab Emirates. And Okan is also the co-chair of Enhancing Innovation and Participation Working Group for the United for Smart Sustainable Cities, so the U4SSC, and the co-chair of Data Economy, Impact, Commercialization, and Monetization Working Group in the ITU Focus Group on Data Processing and Management. I'll let you do your presentation.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm going to go through the deliverable that we have come to almost completion as a result of the work that we have conducted in the past, I would say, year and a half. It's not published yet, but at the end of hopefully November, the results will be published. This is our plan right now, after the review of all the UN agencies. As Christina Boetti mentioned from ITU earlier, U4SSC is an initiative, and this deliverable called Guidelines on Strategies for Circular Cities was one of the deliverables under the U4SSC program. So we've conducted the work. I will just show you some of the results, because this is, in 5 minutes, I need to tell you 120 pages of report which will get published. So in a nutshell, what we did is, we all hear about circular economy. We've gone beyond the concept of circular economy to circular cities. If you think about it, economy is just economic activities, right? Products and services commercially exchanged. But in this deliverable, we've taken it all the way to circular social issues, circular environmental issues. So the scope has been broadened way beyond the usual concept of circular economy. So what we have done is, as part of the work that we've conducted, as you can see here, we have a matrix of city, I would say, assets and products. Those are the columns of the matrix here. And if you think about anything in a city can be potentially circular. Everything that we have, our phones, our household items, anything that you have can be potentially shared, reused, can be substituted when it gets manufactured or shared. So the items, as rows indicated here, are the potential circular action items that can be applied to all the city assets and products. So as you can see, and this is just actually a high-level view of it, each and every column here extends all the way down. For example, if you take buildings, you have commercial buildings, residential buildings in a city. If you take public spaces and infrastructure, you have road as infrastructure, telecommunications, water, energy. So this thing explodes into more than 20 items. And then we have 6 action items on the left-hand side. So multiply the two, all of a sudden the potential for circularity becomes more than 100 potential action items in a city. So the potential is enormous, honestly. And it goes way beyond the economy. Economy is the part that's under, I would say, manufactured goods and services, the last 2 columns. But all the others are going beyond the usual concept of circularity. So this was the potential that we looked at. Then we've come up with a 4-step high-level implementation framework. In a nutshell, what we are doing is, in step 1, where are we today with respect to all these potentials, which is beyond economy in terms of circular cities? Where are we today, which is step 1? Then we think about what we can do. So we prioritize our action items from that matrix that I have shown to you, which is the huge potential, which is step number 2. In step number 3, once we decide what to do, we kind of use policy levers, things that can boost our initiatives to make them happen. So enablers that will help us to expedite and accelerate the implementation of circularity. And then it's step number 4, we assess where we are. And then we go back again if you want. So this is a circular approach for circular cities in general that identifies the potentials and charts a path for the cities for circularity implementation. And these are just, step number 2. As I said, we can prioritize even the initiative. Since the potential is so enormous, we can start getting into prioritization. This will be in the publication also. All these criteria that I mentioned there, sub-criteria, and enablers that I mentioned, what we can do to boost circularity in a city. I'm not going to go through one by one, but as you can see, there is a long list of things that we can do to boost circularity in a city, once we decide what to do about it. Those are on the right-hand side. Then what we have done is, so this is almost a theoretical framework that we came up with. Then we started collecting case studies to illustrate these concepts. And we have right now 17 case studies in the document, which will hopefully get published. They are under review right now by all the UN agencies as we speak. And I will just highlight some of the examples. As I said, the potential, the entire potential is enormous. So these are just some examples, not all 17, but I will highlight a couple of them. From Dubai, for example, we included circular services, ICT services. We've implemented more than 60 shared services in Dubai, which are used by more than 50 entities in the government. So think about how much money we have been able to save by leveraging on this concept of circularity. Now, going back to that matrix, you might say, where is this? Well, it's actually digitizing, as you see. It's an action item, digitizing, and it's for digital infrastructure in the city, in the public sector. So it falls under that one. And we were able to save $1.2 billion in 10 years by doing this. This allows us to do things on the innovation side, actually. The savings that we achieve here in Dubai allow us to do innovative things in terms of frontier technologies. Then we have a case study from India, and the author is actually here with us today. I'm humbled to present on behalf of him, Roti Bank. As you know, malnourishment, hunger is a major issue all over the world. So in India, there is this project. This is not circular economy. This is social circularity, actually. The food that's normally wasted, thrown away in the hotels, in the restaurants, it's collected and given to needy people in a city. So it's done by an NGO called Roti Bank, right? And distributed to people in the city. So this is circular society in a way, not economy. Then we have another example here from Vienna. I'm just going to go through it very quickly because of time limitations. In Vienna, what happens is, this is also a social initiative. Elderly people, in general, feel lonely, and they live in a certain place. Young people, on the other hand, they are looking for places to stay, and they cannot afford full apartments themselves. So the elderly people live together with the young people. They share the space, so it's sharing action item. And they also share their experiences, the generations, right? Old generation sharing ideas with the young generation. Again, not economy, but a social issue. Just an example. And over here, actually, I have a couple of examples. I'm just going to go through them quickly. The one on the left is a very interesting one. I would recommend reading the case study. This is a lodge, a touristic, actually, building, done in such a way that it preserves the heritage of the area. As you see, the whole lodge is done like a boulder, so it preserves the heritage of the area. And there is also waste management here. There is wastewater treatment for irrigation. There is energy savings done. It's a very special concept, and even the human skills are actually recycled in the sense that the whole thing is built by the local fishermen when they built this building. So it's circularity from many perspectives, from energy to water to skills. All of those are included here. And they won actually many awards for this from UN agencies for this Wild Coast Tented Lodge. Again, from India, another interesting concept. We talk about plastic, right? It's becoming a major issue. What do we do with plastics? In India, again, Mr. Vikram is here with us. I'm just presenting on his behalf. They take the plastic and they build road from it. So they are reusing as an action item plastic waste and creating another very useful infrastructure for the city, the roads. And the final examples that I want to give are from Toronto and London, the Library of Things. At home, you have so many items, right? If we are in a community, in a neighborhood, for example, we can share our items. Everyone buys the same things. We buy iron, we buy, hammers, we buy all kinds of household items. Why don't we share them, actually? So this idea is the concept called Library of Things, where you, just like going to a library and borrowing a book, you go and you borrow household items when you need them. And the communities share these household items. Again, this is not necessarily economy. If you charge for it, it becomes circular economy. But if it's done as an initiative where items are shared non-commercially, then this is circular social action item. And the case studies are going to be included in the published version of our work. So that's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Okan. That was a very interesting presentation specifically on the social impact of the work that we do and the work on circular economy. And I think that's something that we do have a tendency to put aside when we're talking about economy.